everyone. Welcome to yet another fabulous episode of Cosmos with Cosmos, which is probably like the third most popular drunk astronomy podcast played on Sundays. So glad to be here. I'm Brandon.
I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
And today we are talking about our obsession with the red planet Mars, and I am so excited. Talking Mars today. And of course, the first thing we want to do is talk about our drinks so we can get drunk and talk about Mars. So, Liz, what you got there?
I am drinking the Canali. And this is a drink which is bourbon, Aperol, and simple syrup. Canali.
The Canali.
We'll find out what that means later in the show.
Sounds delightful.
Well, I have one of those in front of me as well. I have two other drinks, though. I have what I'm calling the Ogilvy. If you have read War of the Worlds, he is the astronomer from War of the Worlds, but this is cranberry with porterfire whiskey, which is a nice blend of cinnamon and vanilla.
Mm-hmm. And it's made right here in Ogden,
Yep.
Utah.
Oh, excellent.
It is a local whiskey. And here I have, just kind of on the fly, decided to call it an Olympus Mons Mule.
Oh,
So-
Olympus Mons Mule.
Mons Mule.
Yeah.
A Mons Mule.
A Mons Mule. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
jealous now.
So it is ginger beer, blood orange vodka, and cranberry juice.
It's like,
And cranberry.
what else did I add? It's red.
All right, Brayden, your turn.
Well, I'm retreading territory here. I think the first time we did Mars, I made a blueberry drink because this one has blueberries in it. It's muddled up blueberries. I threw vodka in there a couple hours ago to get the good flavor in it. And then it was honey, lime, shake all up with ice. Here we are.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Yummy.
Mm-hmm. Nice ice. So there we have our Mars-themed drinks. I'm excited about. As always, for our social media, if you want to keep following the fun, we have our Twitters at Drinking Cosmos, Instagram Cosmos with Cosmos. Follow, rate us on the iTunes, Spotify's, wherever you get your podcast. We're here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess before we really jump into it, we have our rules. Yes.
We have a few rules, yes.
Mm-hmm. Rule number 1 in this drinking podcast: if there is a puppy dog that barks, we take a drink.
Mm-hmm.
If any of us, this is a difficult one, makes a Star Wars reference, we of course take another drink.
Yep.
Or lastly,
And to punish ourselves further.
to punish ourselves further, if we make a Lord of the Rings reference, we take a drink as well.
Mhm.
So we get nice and cozy at the end of the show.
Which is the point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the time we had Hangover.
We're already
Oh, yeah,
feeling
then we just go
hangover.
off.
And then at the end of Hangover, depending how long Hangover goes.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, stick around for the hangover if you're on Twitch. If you're listening to the podcast, check out our hangover episodes on YouTube.
Most excellent. All right, so Mars.
Yeah.
And so this episode, we're not necessarily going into the scientific detail and all the, minutia of the discoveries, which is awesome. We're just talking about why we and kind of our culture has been obsessed with Mars for 120-ish years now. And of course, it goes in ebbs and waves. So sometimes we're super obsessed about it. Sometimes we kind of forget about it. And so we're just going to be exploring some of that and going through the history of Mars and having a good time.
Yeah.
So,
go with the flow.
Let's begin with Mars. Thousands of years ago, it hasn't always been known as Mars as we know it today, thanks to the Romans. But
It's Bob, wasn't it? His name was Bob.
Yes, one of my favorite things about Mars is that to the ancient Sumerian/Babylonians, it was called Nergal. Nergal, and I love it so much. Nergal, and ever since I found that out, I have always thought that for some reason that would be the perfect name for a goldfish. I want a goldfish and I want to name it Nergal.
What was Nurgle like the definition behind it?
It's like the God of War. It's basically
God of War? Okay.
yeah. It's basically their God of War, and then the Greeks were like, yeah, because it's red. It's this red object in the sky that's moving
Blood.
around, different than the stars, right? And so they're like red, blood, war. There you go,
But,
Nurgle.
I mean, I know Venus gets its romantic rep, but red, the color of love and lust, right? Red is so it couldn't have gone either way at that point.
I don't know.
Clearly, it went one way as opposed to the other.
We need a recount of this. No.
Well, yeah, I guess I would say that just in human history, maybe the idea of conflict and war seems to override love and peace and
Yeah, I would think
unity.
that maybe for Venus, since it's so bright,
yeah.
that brightness is more associated with love, and since Mars is red, blood,
Manly.
you hit somebody with a sword, a lot of that red comes out, and so.
Well, and then we also would have to then look into sort of the origins of red, the color red being associated with love, because that could purely just be a modern thing.
If I give somebody my heart, I have a fistful of red stuff. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, if you literally gave him your heart.
Mm-hmm. That's the joke I was making.
Yeah. Rip that shit right out. Jack makes a good point on Twitch. Red is sometimes just related to powerful emotions, both positive and negative. So there you go. So you got Nurgle, the ancient Babylonian god of war, and then the Greeks were like, all right, we'll stick with that, but our dude's name is Ares, and then the Romans came along, took over all the Greek shit, and they were like, our god of war's name is now Mars, and that is where we've stuck with to this day.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the past, Mars is just like a planet or a wanderer up there in the sky, and it really isn't until in more recent modern history that humanity becomes so goddamn obsessed with Mars, and especially the concept of like aliens being on Mars or coming from Mars.
I mean, Bowie had it right. Is there life on Mars?
Maybe. So you get telescopes, right, that come around. A spyglass was invented, and then Galileo was like, you know what? I have an idea. Let me point this at the sky. And so he did, and that proved like, oh, hey, the sun isn't at the center of the solar system, or the sun is at the center of the solar system, and all the Earth and planets go around it. And so from then, you had people that were making better telescopes, bigger telescopes. The bigger the telescope, the better it is, because you want to capture as much light as you can to see better, to see more detail. And so you had these people that were making really detailed observations of the planets and drawing what they were seeing through these telescopes down. And one of those dudes was, what's his first name? Giovanni? No.
I know Schiaparelli.
Schiaparelli. This Italian astronomer. And so he made all these drawings, and he drew what he was thinking he saw on there, which was, he called them canali. Drink my canali. And those canali was misinterpreted to mean canals or channels, which were humid.
Well, no, canali means channels. It was
misinterpreted that it was like
it was mistranslated, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, so it was mistranslated as if it was like these man-made or Martian-made channels or canals. And so then people were like, oh, does that mean there's some intelligent life on Mars that's like building canals or irrigation systems or whatever? And so Percival Lowell comes into the picture, and he's like, cool, I'm gonna build this observatory and we're gonna take a look at Mars. And he actually is the one that then was like, yeah, there's canals on Mars, and so that means there is most likely life on Mars.
Oh no, he said there was life.
Yeah, he said there was life on Mars, and everybody was like, holy shit, Mars has aliens!
Yeah.
They're gonna come and kill us.
Yeah, so the whole idea for Percival Lowell was that these canals were taking water from the poles during the summertime, that ice poles would melt, and the water would go from the poles to the central part of Mars, which was very arid, desert-like, and allow the Martian race to survive off that water. But, that actually inspired people like H.G. Wells with War of the Worlds. And, the Martians coming here to, take us over, get our water, and all that. And they were defeated by the common cold. So
it was their COVID.
It was their COVID. No cure, their COVID. So that definitely fueled a frenzy for Mars that lasted quite a long time, until a spacecraft went past Mars and kind of squashed it for a little bit.
They were like, "Oh, we were wrong this whole time. There's not canals on Mars."
Percival Lowell built that observatory up in Flagstaff to look for evidence of life on Mars. Never found it, but they did find Pluto.
That's true.
Which is an entirely different podcast.
Also, not a planet. I think that you had that kind of that beginning of, I don't know, Martian hysteria, alien Martian hysteria, beginning with Percival Lowell, and these supposed man-made Canali. But I think one of the driving forces behind our obsession with Mars is that it's our next door neighbor, and that it is in the realm of possibility that we could get there, or that something could come to us from there, relatively easier than, say, further away.
Right.
So,
and one of the really interesting things to me about Mars versus the final frontier of space is that the stories of Mars and the stories of space in general, they have the general themes, and Mars typically is about either A, survival, B, contacting a civilized or barbaric race, civilizing people, or colonization. And it in my mind, it does go with the final frontier, but it's more along the lines of subjugation of other peoples. That's just kind of what it feels like me as I went through the books of the last couple 100 years rather, just about Mars, and you could see it slowly evolve. If I had all my notes, I could tell you exactly how I thought they were evolving.
Okay, well, you did text me about one book that is about vampire Martians.
Yeah, that
vampire
was
Mars people.
Prisoners of the Vampires of Mars, and this was a 1909, so a little bit after Percival Lowell with the Canalis.
And H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells was 1897.
So it's a little bit after.
What was the first science fiction book on Mars? Was that War of the Worlds, or?
Oh, that I don't know.
First science fiction book was I just forgot his name. Holy crap! Kepler.
Kepler.
He did the first
Johannes
science fiction
Kepler.
book.
Wait, he did a science fiction book?
He did. He did like a thought experiment as to what happened if he were to fly to the moon and back. And it was very science fiction fantasy-esque. But as far as Mars is concerned, I can't recall off the top of my head. I know in the 1800s, you had a trip to the moon by Jules Verne. He did another one, Voyage to Mars, as well. So that was probably one of the earliest ones.
Okay. So basically, since probably the 1800s, really, is when the science fiction of Mars really started to get going.
That's when people started thinking of flying machines and how they'll operate a flying machine out to the stars into the heavens. So they just took the extra step of, well, if we have a flying balloon that can go to mountaintops, what if we had a flying balloon that can go to the fucking moon? So yeah, it just kind of progressed from there.
Yeah, and then add the fuel of Schiaparelli and Lowell and canals and stuff like that. The thought of the
possibility that, it looks like Mars could be inhabited.
Yeah.
And then naturally, us humans make everything a threat that is coming to kill us, which is kind of like all my dreams.
Here's another fanciful book. This was a couple years before the Vampires on Mars, which I didn't even talk about Vampires on Mars. Wait a minute.
I know, we gotta talk about Vampires on Mars. How do they get there? What about the sun? Like, what?
So what happened was some adventurers or explorer scientist's fiance was kidnapped by a bunch of vampires on Mars, so he had to go and rescue them, the fiance. And as they did that, they discovered there are different races of peoples on Mars, but more importantly, there are 3 types of vampires on Mars.
3.
I am
Okay,
not sure what
let's
those
back
types
up
were.
for a second. How did the fiance get abducted?
I don't speak French. It's a French book. If I did, I'd be much more knowledgeable in this subject. I just got very quick quotes about the book. So, fiance is abducted by vampires on Mars, and he had to go rescue them and figure out what the 3 different types of vampires are on Mars.
What are the 3 different types of vampires?
I don't speak French. I don't know.
I love the creativity involved with all of the Mars science fiction.
Especially just early science fiction in general has such wonderful possibilities. There was another one like 2 or 3 years before this called Dr. Omega, which, yeah. And this little tidbit here is a crew explores from Earth visit a Mars inhabited by reptilian mermen, savage dwarf-like beings with long tentacled arms, batmen, and a race of civilized macrophallic gnomes. I don't know what macrophallic means,
Big
but I
dick.
need to know what the macrophallic.
Big
Really?
dick.
Big dick domes?
No.
Gnomes? Big
Gnomes
big dicked
in the house.
gnomes.
That's magic.
I want to. Is it like a third leg situation or
like that that
Mini-me,
petroglyph
the
or whatever it was that we saw, and yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
And a lot of these authors as well, they're European authors. There's not many American stories about Mars until later on, it seems. I'm not sure why. It's just interesting.
well, I would say that we probably dominate in the like film genre of
Oh, George Lemaire, Trip to the Moon, first science fiction movie of all time. But also he was French, so what the fuck am I talking about?
He's got an obsession with French right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think that Mars, because it's our nearest neighbor, and for a long time, we could, because of it being so close, we could see enough but not enough to really know what was truly happening on Mars, because it had so much different like terrain characteristics. But until we actually sent a spacecraft there, we really couldn't
like
discern what was happening.
It was like our blank canvas for our imaginations.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Our hopes, our dreams, our fears of macrophallic gnomes, anything, was possible on Mars.
Well, also you get those bigger telescopes. You're able to the face of Mars changes throughout the year, which you could then say, hey, vegetation, maybe vegetation growing in,
like
not
those
dying
telescopes. Percival's was just good enough to, let their imaginations run again. Those are definitely canals. Those are oceans over there. We can see how the ice is melting down below. So it wasn't good enough to actually see the detail, but it was just good enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, just enough to spark the imagination and really make kind of the these hypotheses kind of go wild. Jack on Twitch has a clarification on vampire types. They're the sanguinarians, little blood drinkers, psychic energy ones that drink your soul, and empathetic vampires that live off victims' fears.
Ooh, my empathetic vampire's
scary.
just growing. He's doing all right.
and then Adam comments on Twitch, and then the Twilightians, which spread sprinkles. God damn it, vampires don't fucking sparkle. I hate it so much. Okay, anyway, moving on. All right, so how has then our sort of has our obsession with Mars do you think it's like changed at all? I mean, the more we've understood about Mars, I mean, obviously we know there aren't aliens on Mars that are going to come get us, like the movie we will be watching later this evening, the 1996 classic film Mars Attacks, directed by Tim Burton. So excited to watch it.
I think there's definitely a line pre and post the Mariner 6 when they actually Mariner 6 was it? Mariner 3?
It's a Mariner.
4.
Yeah, one of the Mariners.
But
when
in
they
the
did
60s. It was in the
Yeah,
60s.
60s. They did the first flyby, took a picture, and they saw it was cratered. Like, what? It wasn't supposed to be cratered and dead, and the extraordinarily thin atmosphere. So at that point, then Tales of Mars become tales of survival on Mars and expeditions to set up settlements, like of course Red Mars, which we always love to death. So there's definitely that threshold where it stops being that canvas for glorious life forms and macrophallic gnomes, and then more almost reality-based things, quote unquote reality-based.
Except for shit like Total Recall, Ghost from Mars, Species
Quote
2,
unquote, right.
Yeah, I think our obsession has gone from, the whole scary aliens that are gonna probably come and murder us and we gotta defend ourselves against them, to more of an exploratory obsession with Mars.
You think that a little bit might be because we're more technologically sure of ourselves? Like in the early 20th century, late 19th century, electricity was still new. We were still kind of grappling with, flight, for example. But now we're more confident in our abilities, so we're not too much concerned of some other race taking us over.
I think so, yeah. I think we're definitely more confident technologically. And given the things that we've developed and what we have learned about Mars by us actually being the invaders and sending, our alien robots to Mars, so to speak, that we are starting to figure out how we can then make Mars, habitable for us, or how we can adapt ourselves to then put humans on Mars and establish a presence there. Like with The Martian, which was actually a fairly scientifically accurate. In fact, I think that's probably the most scientifically, aside from Total Recall, is the most scientifically accurate Mars science fiction movie I think that there is.
And especially that book as well, because I remember just being formulas upon formulas as they were just confirming exactly, how many potatoes per day they had to grow, or the distance they had to travel between bases, the energy consumed. It was really fun in that respect as well.
Yeah, well, he wrote it with the express purpose of making it as scientifically accurate as possible, except for the storm.
Because that's right.
That's
the storm. For those of you who have seen The Martian, or if you haven't, well, spoiler alert. But
in the first 20 seconds,
you've had plenty of time.
Yeah, you've had plenty of time. But the storm, it wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't have that pressure that would be able to blow things over like that. It would just be like nothing's happening, basically.
Yeah. So, Mars' atmosphere is so thin that something like 100-mile-an-hour breeze wind on Mars you'd hardly feel.
And I think that the fact that we have been able to have so many successful missions to Mars, of sending either orbiters or actually landing spacecrafts and then having robots drive around on Mars for decades, and way outlasting their initial mission timelines. Like Spirit and Opportunity was supposed to last for 90 days, and Opportunity finally stopped working in 2018, due to a dust storm that covered its solar panels. And that was 15-year mission. Yeah, it didn't blow it over. And so I forgot where I was going with that. I talked too long about it. I think that because we've had such success with that makes Mars in the public eye like a feasible accomplishment to actually reach, other than the moon for humanity. Like it's just that the imagination switches to then the possibilities of what we can do on Mars.
If we can get Perseverance there, then we can get astronaut. If we can get, all right, I want to jinx it with Perseverance. If we can get Spirit and Opportunity there, and Pathfinder, with the little Sojourner, which is still my favorite.
Sojourner.
It's my favorite little rover.
And then, go ahead.
Jack on Twitch says the little robots that could.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
And who could forget when the brave little toaster went to Mars as well?
Did the brave little is there a brave little toaster goes to Mars?
Yeah, I went to Mars. Motherfucker did it.
Oh my gosh! Brave little toaster, you go.
Sorry to cut you off, Mike.
No, I was just going to say that if the robots can get there, then we can send astronauts there. And people have said this before, and I really firmly do believe it's true. That the first person to walk on Mars is alive on Earth today.
Oh, absolutely.
So
You think so?
yeah. If we don't kill ourselves, which is, let's just be honest, this is 50-50.
50-50 chance.
Yeah. So this will be an interesting year.
And we also want to emphasize that it's still difficult to get to Mars. Like NASA recently has made it look easy, except for a little insight, the mole that can't dig into the ground, which is an issue. But there have been maybe about a dozen failures or another dozen partial failures.
Oh, yeah.
We watched a thing today, and there's been right around 55 missions that have made it, that have gone to Mars.
But only 18.
Only 18 have been successful.
Most of them NASA.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're for some reason we're really good at sending shit to Mars.
It's really difficult though.
It is difficult. What was the mission? Was it New Zealand or something that it crash landed on Mars?
Oh,
and
that was the Beagle with the Britain.
Okay,
Yeah.
they did the math wrong. It was like they did it in kilometers, but then they didn't.
Oh.
Yeah,
they
they didn't
convert it. They didn't convert it
They
to.
didn't convert it,
Daisy.
so it came in hot. Came in
too
real
hot.
fucking hot.
Poor Beagle.
And then one of our orbiters actually got a picture of it later of its, final destination,
His demise.
which is kind of
Made a
cool.
little crater.
Slow.
Yeah, so always check your units, folks. Make sure.
Double check your math.
Yeah.
Mhm. So to kind of get back into the Mars culture, as opposed to, we can talk all day about the Mars robots, because what is so special about Mars and life, Liz? Its inhabitants? It's like your favorite thing to say?
Oh. You know what? I was going to try not to say it on this episode because I say it all the time, every time we talk about Mars.
Because it's so cool.
But my favorite thing is that Mars is the only planet in this solar system fully inhabited by robots.
Robots.
I love it. I'm going to take a drink to that.
Yeah, I'll drink to that. So to take us back into the cultural relevancy of Mars, let's kind of go at a broad view and ask, what is your favorite Martian media? Whether that's a book, a movie, a limerick, a poem, a song. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh my god. Really?
Favorite Martian media?
Movie? Martian? The Martian?
The Martian? Well,
Although I do honestly love Total Recall. I think it's such a silly fucking movie. I love it.
Mars Attacks. I also there's a song by it's a metal band called I don't know even how to pronounce it. It's like European Isan or Isan. I don't know if it's one dude, but anyway, he has a song called "Frozen Lakes on Mars."
Oh, cool.
Fun.
And I love it. Yeah. I don't know. It's The Martian is really good.
Yeah.
If we're talking music, I already mentioned this earlier, but the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. I mean, come on. I love that album.
I don't think I've
David
ever.
Bowie.
I never.
Oh,
I didn't grow up on Bowie, so
It's an experience. Like from start to end, the whole album just comes together, and it's just a glorious experience. Strongly suggest.
Brandon doesn't listen to anything like modern, like today.
no, he's
from
he's a
today.
grandpa. We've already established
That's
this.
not
He's an old
completely
man.
true.
He's an old man in 30-year-old body.
What's the most recent thing you've listened to?
Oh, shit, today I was just listening to Elvis.
Case in point. Case and
God
point.
damn it.
Mr. Naps on Twitch says,
Mars bar.
Mars bar.
Mars.
Welcome back, Richard, friend of the show. And Adam says 30 seconds to Mars. 30 seconds to Mars. I'm not a big fan of 30 seconds to Mars. It takes a lot longer than 30 seconds to get to Mars. First off. War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Of course.
Another. I have this on the record player as well. The actual radio broadcast of War of the Worlds. So I listen to that every year, and it's great. So
yeah, in fact, our
the Tom Cruise version of War of the Worlds.
I don't mind that version. I don't mind that version. I think it's kind of fun. It's a guilty pleasure.
But for books, there's a professor at Arizona State University. Can't remember his name, but he had postcards from Mars, and it was
Jim
just
Bell.
all who?
Jim Bell.
Jim Bell. Yes, he had all these just incredible pictures from rovers and all of that. Just awesome, amazing.
Adam brings up on Twitch, and there was the face on Mars that was a big deal for like 2 minutes. Yeah, the face
sometime.
That's like it's like Jesus toast. The face on Mars. People are seeing shit on Mars all the time. I think it harkens back to our imaginations of aliens being on Mars. That when we look at these pictures of Mars, people are always looking to see like weird shit and
and so people with the face on Mars, if you show them like a high res picture of the same thing, they're like, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not the face on Mars. It's a real face.
No.
Okay. No. What was the movie? It was either Mission to Mars or Red Planet that had the face as a plot device. They had to go to it to go see the aliens, which was really cool.
That would be Red Planet. Mission to Mars.
That's the one
that have aliens? No, they
had to
went
kill a
to
robot.
Go pick up. Mission to Mars was they had to pick up an astronaut that was stranded on Mars.
And then there's a Ghost on Mars, or Ghost of Mars, right? With that Ice Cube in that?
I was reading about that this morning.
Apparently it was big enough. The face on Mars was a big enough deal that it was on Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Well, we solved it.
Never solved.
We solved it with high resolution photography.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, there was also something where it looked like there was somebody walking on Mars, like there was like a Bigfoot-esque
yay, Photoshop.
That was like shadowed or something.
Wasn't there an obelisk at some point as well?
There
like a little square obelisk?
Everything like Pathfinder, somebody saw some shit in rocks, and our imaginations are amazing though, but
they are they get us in a lot of trouble, I would say.
Yeah.
The reality is though of Mars is still pretty amazing. And there is the fact that there quite possibly could have been life on Mars in the past, just not
could be now.
And it could be now, just not a walking, talking, multicellular organism like we are.
No, but just think how that hopefully will change things. I still want the Star Trek universe so bad. I want humanity to find life somewhere in the universe, and it just unites us where we realize that, you know what, we're not alone. That, for one thing, that we really aren't that different, and that we finally become humans and not these separate tribes called Americans or Canadians or Yugoslavians and all that kind of shit. So,
well, maybe that's part of our obsession of Mars, is that, that wanting or need to like not be alone in the solar system or the universe, that wanting to, have there be life elsewhere, whether it's, threatening or not,
Yeah, well, I do think we want that. What an amazing thing to realize that you're part of this more universal society, galactic society.
And as a matter of fact, it's also Star Trek canon that humans, Klingons, Cardassian, Vulcans, they're all made from the same tree from some kind of ancient planter
they have a
throughout
common
the DNA
ancestor.
Evolution on the galactic scale.
My mom asked on Twitch, did they find a virus fossil or piece of something on Mars?
I'm assuming you might be referring to the 1990s.
Antarctica.
Well, it was a rock that they verified came from Mars. Bill Clinton, President Clinton, had this big press conference. But if you open it up, it looks like there's these microbes in it. Turns out that they aren't microbes, but they appear to be fossilized microbes, I should say. Turns out that they aren't. But who knows what we'll find? Perseverance is supposed to. I can't remember what Perseverance is. It's not going to look for life. It's not doing that.
Well, but isn't the point of Perseverance, or one of its advancements over Curiosity, is that it is designed to be able to look for evidence of past life?
Yes.
Whereas Curiosity was just mainly to look for evidence that Mars was habitable in the past,
and the conditions were,
and the conditions were right for life, which it has found that. Yeah, life has been
and don't forget about Martian helicopter. That's a big advancement.
Oh yeah, so Perseverance. Oh, what is the name of that helicopter?
Wait! I don't think I know about the Martian helicopter.
What, Liz? There's a fucking helicopter on its way to Mars right now.
Yes. All right. So, I wish I could. What's the name of? Randy, you know the name of?
I can't recall. My computer is not fucking.
He doesn't
working,
have any screens.
He has a phone. All right. So, Perseverance is going to land on Mars on February 18th, and it is carrying with it a helicopter and the little tiny helicopter that's going to go fly around.
It's going to fly out.
We're going to have helicopters on Mars.
I don't know why I didn't know this.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Look it up.
You look it up.
I don't have my phone.
Somebody on Twitch, look it up. That is the coolest thing.
Yeah, and there's actually a Digistar sequence where we fly around with the helicopter.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Perseverance helicopter. So, Perseverance, the latest rover that we're sending to Mars, lands on Mars on February 18th. And we will be doing a live stream of that landing. I mean, there's 50 billion live streams that are going to be going on this landing, but we're going to do one.
But we all had the day off.
We all took the day off of work, and we're going to be having a real fun time with it. Mars helicopter Ingenuity.
That's it.
That's right.
It's going to test the technology to scout targets of interest on Mars and help plan the best driving route for future Mars rovers. Its max speed is 22.37 miles per hour.
That's fast. Holy crap.
That is pretty fast.
Because on Mars, the average rolling speed for Curiosity has got to be like, what? I think the top speed is 3, but it never gets to 3 miles an hour. It's usually about like 0.02 or something like that.
Well, I remember Spirit and Opportunity were like real slow as well. Like they were moving it like
they were chunky
miles
little
an
boys.
hour or something. That's super.
20
that's so
miles.
Badass,
cool.
isn't it? That's really fucking badass.
Mars.
That is so badass.
That is badass.
Oh my gosh, Mars is so much fun.
It is.
Because, I mean, if you think about all the planets in the solar system, all right, Venus is just hellfire and brimstone, suffocating atmosphere of carbon dioxide. Crushing,
How
suffocating.
How quick will it cook a pizza?
It'll cook a large 16-inch pizza in 9 seconds. And that's what you call fast food.
Well done. I'll drink to that. That's well done.
Mercury is either between 800 degrees or negative 800 degrees, give or take.
But if you go right at the Terminator, you can both freeze and burn to death.
So that's fun.
Yeah, take a step forward, take a step back.
And then if you go past Mars, you just got gas. You just got some gassy, cold ass death.
Gassy death. That doesn't sound good.
Gassy death or frozen death, depending on what moon you feel like going to. So really, in the entire solar system, Mars is the only one that is really even the most feasible for humanity
to
get to and to go to land on and to be
and our heart and and in our DNA, in our heart of hearts, humanity, we are explorers. And if we weren't, we would have never, gone out of Africa.
Slaughtered tens of thousands of.
Well, yes, we're murderers as well. However, on a more uplifting note.
Take note, Martians. We're actually the threat.
Yeah, so I mean, we're explorers, so we want to be able to go to Mars, and when we look at it and we see these dry riverbeds, and we realize that Mars was wet a long time ago, and maybe there's ice up underneath, maybe there's water up underneath the surface, maybe there's life. We want to go there and find out. We want to go there and put our boots in the ground and walk around on that foreign surface and, come home, bring rocks home, but also one day to actually go there and live there.
From mariners to Vikings, we are pathfinders, sojourners who have the spirit and have the opportunity
and the perseverance
in order to show our curiosity through perseverance and ingenuity.
Take it home.
Well done. Well done.
For the past 5 minutes, though, you're talking, that's what I was thinking about.
Work maven in there.
Work maven?
Yeah, work maven.
We are mavens on the explorative frontier of Mars.
Don't forget about the Indian satellite. It's
We
just called
are
Mom.
also
We just call it
moms.
Mom. Yeah.
You call it Mom.
Yeah. Call it Mom. It's moms. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's what I'm here for.
Well done. That is definitely well done.
So I would say, in a nutshell, that Mars is a close, fascinating neighbor that, because we can get there, it's always just, it is,
It's one of the few neighbors we're actually allowed to spy on.
But I do wonder how much it would be in our imagination, in our obsession, had not Schiaparelli seen that optical illusion that he called Canali. And then Percival Lowell picking it up with man, this is water. Then H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, and then filmmakers and authors and artists. I mean, sure, Pioneer kind of gave us a little stake to the heart there for a bit, but then it came back to in our imagination with Viking and like all the ones you just listed in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, all it takes really is for someone in the past to go, yeah, look, that looks man-made. And then we just roll with it. We go, okay, I can see it too. There's aliens there.
Groupthink.
Well, and I mean, in the early, the 1800s and early 1900s, you have the early 1800s with industrialization beginning. So we're developing these new technologies. And so once you sort of get this beginning of technological advancement, I mean, that just opens things up where we really start this huge bit of, exploration and this drive for learning all these new things. And then it's just our imaginations of what could be or what, where we then our fears are represented. It's like our psychology kind of has been just imprinted on Mars in essence. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyway.
That sounds good.
That sounds fine. All right.
Yeah.
So humanity, we are obsessed with fucking Mars. And I think that we will probably continue to be obsessed with Mars in some sense until we actually accomplish our goals of establishing a base there or whatnot, and then maybe it'll be old news. But
and then there'll be a war between Mars and Earth.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's the way it always goes.
That's usually how it happens. So join us on February 18th for our live stream of Perseverance landing on Mars. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. We're gonna go through 7 minutes of terror.
We're getting meat trays and cheese and meat trays. We're getting veggie trays. We're day drinking. Not that we're not day drinking right now, but we'll be day drinking
on a weekday.
On a weekday when we're supposed to be at work. But I did get the day off.
Took the day off.
So we did get the day off. So, but before the 18th, join us on the 14th.
Oh yeah, on the 14th, we will be talking about, because it is Valentine's Day, so we will be talking about what we love about space and astronomy.
Lovely.
All the things we love about it.
I didn't know that. I'm excited now.
You didn't know that? We discussed it.
I don't remember.
It's fine.
We discussed it, quite a bit.
Which is just going to be our everything, because we love everything about it. So that's what we will be discussing. But in the meantime, follow us on all the things. Twitter at Drinking Cosmos, Cosmos with Cosmos for everything else. Listen to the podcast, Anchor.fm, Spotify, iTunes. And we will see you around next time on Cosmos with Cosmos.
Cheers, everybody.
Stay safe.